So I've had the Scenic now for 6 months. I got it at the end of September 24 and we're now just into May 25. So I thought it's time I did the long awaited full review video. So I'm going to tell you what I like about the car, more importantly what I don't like about the car. How does it compare to my Teslas? I've had previously a Tesla Model S and a Model 3. How does it compare to those? And am I happy with this purchase, or should I have got another Tesla? So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy this genuine, real-world owner in-depth review of the Scenic e-tek. The Renault Scenic was first seen as a concept car back in May 2022. Finally launched in the spring of 2024, the Renault Scenic is seen as one of the leading family EVs in Europe. With the long-range version featuring an 87 kilowatt usable battery, lots of room inside, and innovative technology including fully powered by Android Auto, the question has to be, is this a viable alternative to something like a Tesla? I've now been driving the car for 6 months and done around 5,500 miles. I've gone on long journeys all over the country on motorways. I've used it in towns and cities. I've used it in freezing temperatures and warm temperatures. I've charged at destination chargers and I've charged at super fast chargers, and you can see my range test link below. So let's review the car, let you know what I think of it to help you make a decision and whether this is the right car for you. So let's start, shall we, by looking at the boot space in this car and the internal dimensions. So the boot space is really good. You've got the parcel shelf as you'd expect. It just clips on with these bits of rubber, seems to be fine. It lifts out just through a clip there. You've got a light in the back here, power source. The boot is really deep. People seem to not like the fact it's got this big lip on it. So you can see there the lip is really big, but that actually makes the most of the space, and so you can get a lot of suitcases in here. Lift this up and you've got this storage space only at the front, not at the back. But there, right, you can see you can get it's got a tyre inflator which is in there. You've got the charging cable which comes with it, and that's my electric tyre inflator. That's the tyre repair kit. You've also handily got a couple of hooks, one on each side, which is good for putting shopping in. In terms of dropping the seats, you can do it from the back or the front, and you just pull these tabs on here. Hopefully you can see that. There's just some tabs and the seats drop. I've got 3 suitcases and a large bag. In my wife's Sportage, I'd have to put the 3 suitcases in the back and the bag would have to go on the back seat. So we'll see how this does with the 3 suitcases and the practicality of the boot. So hopefully we can get them in lengthways like this. Let's see. Just look. It's fantastic. Look. Can I get another one there? We'll have to stand one up. Oh wow. 2 in side by side. Wow. Now that's this one's a bit bigger. In fact, this is a new case that I've just got. You can see a review on this one. So that one won't go in lengthways at the top. But take the parcel shelf out like we usually have to do. Let's have a look. But it will go in like that. And the big bag. That'll obviously be bulkier when it's full like that. It's closed. Well, so in terms of being able to put suitcases in, it gets more cases in than you can get in a Sportage. So that's fantastic. The boot is also power operated, and there's a button there to close it. You can open it from the inside. That comes as standard on all models, as does privacy glass. Now, in terms of size, as well as the suitcase that I've just shown you, I took my racing bike out the other day, and it went in the back with the seats down without taking any of the wheels off, easily, without moving the front seats as well. So it's a really good practical size in that respect. Now, one of the real boons about the car is the sheer amount of rear legroom, which is about the most I've ever had in a car. It's amazing because the car isn't that big on the outside, and it shows you the advantage of the electric platform. So I'm 5'11", and that's my driver's seat set as is. And just look at the sheer amount of legroom you get in the back here. The upholstery is nice, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because all the early reviews covered this, but there is this special drop-down armrest, which has chargers in the back there. Really nice. These can come out, and then you can put like a tablet in there, drinks holder, charging, USB-C charging points. So that's really good. There's also, if you see down there, not only is it got its own heating controls, but USB-C charging points there. So there's 4 in the back here. So that's really good. And getting inside the car, you know, as I say, I'm 5'11". Try and show you. Look at the sheer amount of legroom I've got there. It's like being a bit like being in a limousine, really, which is really, really good, really impressive. So the cockpit is a really nice place to be, up here in the driver's seat. As I say, this is a standard model, but it's absolutely loaded with just about everything you could want. Electric door mirrors, of course, electric windows, as you'd expect. All models have got the same lighting in them, LED lighting, which adjusts both in terms of when you select the different driving modes, which you can do via this, or alternatively you can have it set a colour you want, or you can have it changing with the day, which I quite like. So I have mine set up often like that. You've got a fantastic system which I'm going to take you through. It's all Google Android Auto, Renault specific, and generally it's superb. So I'm going to take you through the system now and show you how everything works. So this is the main screen, and you select the different elements at the top. So the first one is basically all the controls and the main controls for the car. So you select that at the top, and then you've got electric is the first one. So here you can see how much battery you've got left. You can set a programmed out. I have mine controlled by Mobilize smart charging, and I'll come on to that. That's if you're using Octopus Intelligent or other similar ones that are compatible. This next one is where you can set the battery level. So I've got mine set to 100%. You're not meant to charge it up to 100% every day. 80 or 90, they say charge it to 80 for day-to-day driving, 100% for long trips. Mine's actually set to 100% because, as I said, Mobilize Smart Charge controls mine, and I actually set the level in there. And then this is, for strangely, the pedestrian warning sound is in this menu. I struggled to find it at one point when I wanted to have a look at it. And I have mine on this lovely Jean-Michel Jarre sound. I've actually had people say to me that's a fantastic sound the car gives out, but it's a pedestrian warning at low speed, but you can have it on these other ones. So that's the first menu. Second one is air quality. I never use it because you can put an air purifier on, but I never do bother. I suppose I would if I was in really bad ice traffic, pumping fumes into me. Now this one, my driving, is perhaps the one I use the most, and the reason being is this here.
you'll see this says miles per kilowatt an hour, and this basically shows your efficiency on that particular drive that you're on at that moment. And what you can do is you can multiply that by, if your car's the long range like mine, it's got an 87 kilowatt usable battery. So if it's saying 4, it's 4 multiplied by 87, and that will give you your rough distance that you can get in the car as you're driving along. And you can ask Google, because it's got a great Google system in, to do the calculation for you. And I find this really, really useful, because as I'll come on to, one of my gripes about the car is that the charging estimate within this isn't good. So I tend to ignore that, and I do that. You've then got my driving. Sorry, I've done that one. You've then got driving assistance. So this is all your active braking. Always leave your traction control on, otherwise your front wheels will spin round. It's got warning anticipations. It gives you warnings that when it thinks you're going to crash into a car. It sometimes, like all these systems, gives the odd fake warning, but very rarely. Also, because of EU regs, it has to have all these warnings on it, unfortunately, all these noises. Now, I actually don't mind them. I quite like them. And I like being warned that I'm going over or hitting the speed limit. But you can turn all the nagging off. You can configure my safety perso here, and then change everything and switch off or switch on what you don't want on. And then if you want to trigger that every time you get into the car, because by EU regs it's got to all be switched on, you just press that and it switches it all off. So that's useful if you don't want the nagging, but I tend to leave them all on. You've then got comfort, follow distance. Again, I don't know why this is called comfort. Follow distance, adaptive speed limit and cruise control, and adaptive adjustment. So follow distance sets the follow distance, then you can set it on the steering wheel, as I'll show you. You've got adaptive speed limiter and cruise control. I don't use that, because what it does is it automatically, when you're on cruise, it changes your speed limit. And I tend not to use it, because sometimes, like all systems, it can misread the speed limits and slow you down too much. This one I found fairly recently. I didn't have it on at first. Adaptive adjustment to road context. So it's useful when you're on like dual carriageway or single carriageway roads, and when you come up to roundabouts and things, it'll know, and it's based on the map, and it slows it down. So that's pretty good. In terms of parking, this is the basic model. Another gripe I've got, and I'm going to come on to all my gripes, is the rear view camera on this car is crap. It's appalling. And I don't know why. It's something Renault need to sort out. But the actual sensors on it are pretty good. And what it does is it tells you where you're close to something by an audible warning coming from the area where you're close. So if it's on this back corner, the audible warning in the car will come from down here, so you know where it is you're about to hit something. The higher models have the top model has a 360 camera on it. Now, it's got some really good safety features on it. Rear cross parking alert, rear active emergency braking, and occupant safe exit. It also has, when you open the door, so that's, I assume this is doing it. When you open the door, if there's some car coming up, it knows and it warns you not to open the door. And one thing I really, really like about the car is that when you're going into reverse, say I reverse off my drive here, and if there's a car coming down, it actually has a red flashing line, which shows you which side something's coming and which side it's coming from. So we've then got this vehicle, and that's sort of various little settings, like wipers, cockpit sound volumes and things like that, and your tyre pressures. One thing it doesn't do is, whilst it will give you a tyre pressure low warning, it doesn't actually tell you what your tyre pressures are. That's a bit of a shame. And finally, in terms of settings, this is basically delving into your Android Auto. Most people won't really have to use this much, but you've got things like all the apps on it. And I'll come on to that, the App Store, and you can go to updates here. Although I have to say, I've had this since September, and 30th of September 2024, service update when I got it, and I don't ever appear to have had another update, surprisingly, to the car. So that's that first menu. Second menu is your applications. So you've got the Play Store, but it's a limited Play Store. It's not what you'd have on your phone. The ones you really want are probably things like Spotify. You've got Prime Video on there. You've got a web browser, so you can watch YouTube through that. A better route planner if you don't want to use the internal one in terms of finding charging points. Racing games, Audible's quite good if you use that. But you can just go on the Play Store and see some of the apps there. Next, we've got the phone. I won't click on that because it will show you all of my contacts, but it's as you'd expect. The next one is the music. So it's got a DAB radio on, and you can speak to the Google and it'll find the radio station. You very rarely actually have to find anything on it if you want to play something. Quick sources, and then, for example, you've got your all of these are the different apps. Does work with CarPlay. I tend to use the built-in system. I don't bother with CarPlay. And you can see I've got a bit of all out 90s going there, but I very rarely touch this. I'm going to see Stevie Wonder soon in Manchester. That'll be good. I very rarely touch it. I normally just speak to it, and it will play me what I asked for. It's really cool. Play me some Queen.
Okay, here's Queen on Spotify.
So it's pretty good, and I can't play this because it's going to get me on a copyright strike. It's the sound system, and this is the basic one, is pretty decent. Not many complaints with that at all. It's not as good as my Tesla one, but it's pretty good still. You have got to set it up right though. And if you go onto this, I've got it on live, and I'll show you my settings. Let's have a look. Is it that one? Oh, sound. So I've got the tone set like that on live for the best sound quality. I did mess about with it a bit, so pause that and have a look at that if you want what my opinion is the best sound quality. Now, there has been a recent update apparently that improves the sound quality on the standard system. I'm not sure whether mine already had that. So other things you've got that I really like, you've got heated steering wheel, although it doesn't heat it here, it only just seems to heat it on these two bits here, but it's fine. Heated front seats, which is all good. And the seats and general build quality of the car is really nice. One issue I have with Teslas, even though my Model 3 was quiet when I they all develop squeaks and rattles. Now the newer ones might be better, the new models have just launched, but the old ones all develop squeaks and rattles. Both of my Teslas did that. This is pretty silent, 6 months on, and therefore, it just seems a really nice build quality. It's a really comfortable place to be. The seats are really nice, supportive. Made out of recycled bottles apparently, they clean up quite well. Yeah, it's just really nice. Now the cabin, what I really like about it is the cockpit feels really good. At my height at least, I've got a full view of the binnacle through the steering wheel. The steering wheel has got this flat top, which are better, it's comfier to rest your hand on. Now down here you have this charging pad, which is pretty good. Not many of these charging pads will charge a phone whilst they're running wireless Apple CarPlay. It overheats and the phone won't charge, and I found that I had a Ford Explorer in Hawaii actually last year when I went on holiday. Check out my Hawaii video if you want to see some of that. But the Ford Explorer did exactly the same thing. It overheated the phone on wireless Apple CarPlay. I don't use CarPlay, I just use the fantastic built-in system. But if you did want to use CarPlay and you want to charge your phone on there, I suggest you plug it into the USB. And that, as I say, that's a limitation of the phone's being able to draw enough power really, whilst using very power-intensive wireless Apple CarPlay. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. I'm not sure why you'd want that, given it's got Android Auto built in, but anyway. Really nice. You've got physical buttons for basically all your climate control here. They work really well. This button here unlocks the doors. The door handles pop out like the old Tesla Model S. Click it, you have to click it twice and it makes them pop out. I do that all the time because I've got it on auto lock. You've got this very nice, oh, I've got some mints. Now, here's a tip. If you ever want a mint assortment, nothing beats the Waitrose. I call in at service stations because there's no Waitrose near me just to buy this. But you see that's quite deep down there. I've got my mount for the window for when I'm doing my YouTube videos, glasses, my card's in there. For this sort of slides backwards and forwards for some reason. You've got one cup holder there, and then this one you can move around. I just leave it like that. It does actually look as though it's too small for a cup, but it isn't. That is a proper cup holder size, and then you've got a lot of space at the back down there as well. And look at all that space. So it's really, really roomy. The vents operate like this. I didn't actually notice, this is easy to miss, but under the two front vents, that closes them off. It doesn't change direction there. That closes them off. Here, that closes them off. That just changes direction. And I thought, oh, it's not getting very cold. And then I realised I had them closed up, and there's one on that side as well. So that's worth noting. So I've just started the car up so we can move the steering wheel. So this is your cockpit, and I'll just take you through what this does. Now, one thing a lot of people don't like when they first get a Renault is all these stalks, and I have to admit I was a bit, oh, I'm not sure about this myself, but actually once you get used to it, it's pretty good. So you have the ones you'd expect, which is this one, which is your lights and indicators. Auto dipping works very well. This one, a lot of people might not be used to, but this is your drive stalk, I suppose you'd call it. Press down to drive, up to reverse. When you park it, just press the button in the end. It's very similar to if you've driven a Mercedes or indeed a Tesla, they use the same type of thing. My wife wasn't used to it because she was used to the drive being selector being down on the middle console. But once you get used to it, it's good. This one is this one here. Get around there. Hopefully you can see it. As you'd expect, it's your windscreen wipers, auto windscreen wipers. Coming from a Tesla, it's fabulous to have windscreen wipers which actually work for a change automatically. These do. And this is the unusual one down here. So you've got this one for your stereo, and it's pretty good. You can turn up and down the volume. The ones I use the most on it is if you press both the buttons, it immediately mutes it. And on the back, there's a little wheel. And if you turn this little wheel, it moves the songs on, say on Spotify. So I tend to use just the volume, pausing, and the little wheel at the back. Now turning to the steering wheel controls, this has got really good self-driving on it. I'd say it's better than the standard Tesla one, and the main reason being is it seems just as reliable to me. The only thing I have noticed is if it's raining too much, then the self-driving can stop, and it seems programmed to stop when your windscreen wipers are on their top level. So just bear that in mind. That is perhaps slightly worse than Tesla, although Tesla would also stop working in very heavy rain. I've only had it happen to me a few times in 6 months, but it can stop working in very heavy rain, can the self-driving. But other than that, it's fantastic. And all you do is basically, once you've got it set up, there's the different modes. So you press mode. That one means it's just automatic speed limiter. That's full self-driving. You see the steering wheel on it and everything else. And that one is basically adaptive cruise control. So what I do is I just leave it on self-driving. And when you're in lane, you press set at say 70, say you're doing 65, 70 miles an hour, press set up like that, and it'll just start cruising. And then within seconds, this will highlight green, this little steering wheel here. And it'll keep it in the lane. Adaptive. you know, I drove down to Milton Keynes again the other day, and I barely touched it, had to steer it or touch the brake. So it's really good, and this is where it's better than a Tesla. If you change lanes, God, Tesla, it drives you nuts. It switches off and you've got to double click the stalk again to get it to come back on. This just picks it straight back up. You don't have to do a thing. Just steer into another lane or just carry on self-driving. Wonderful. So on this side you've got your multi-sense button, so that's your different driving modes. It seems to be more responsiveness of engine and eco mode. So you press that and you can see it comes up eco. What it does is when it goes on eco, it also puts your stereo on eco. I have noticed a difference actually. It does get more miles out of it when it's on eco. So if you're going on a really long journey, it slows down the acceleration a lot. But even when it's cruising around, it seems to me to get more miles on it. And please watch my range tests, and I'll talk a bit more about range. But I've linked all my connected Scenic videos with all the range tests below. So these I don't use much because I tend to just use the Google. If I want to speak to somebody, I say call X, or so I very rarely use these, and I don't use that's to trigger the Google. I thought we were going to trigger then, but you don't have to do it because you just have to say the words. This one changes the display. Now the car does have regen. You see that little blue battery type mark down there, and you use the paddles to switch the regen on. I'm not sure why you'd switch it off. I think some people seem to think it coasts better. Born Nyland did some tests and he couldn't tell. He said he didn't think that was really true. I don't think it's true either. I just leave it on full regen. Now it isn't one pedal driving, and it won't come to a total stop like a Tesla will do. They're introducing one pedal driving. It's just been released on a software update. I don't think cars are actually being delivered with it as I speak, but there will be soon, and it looks as though it's going to be available for a software update on this, so then it will bring it to a total stop when that's implemented. No matter what you're doing on here and no matter what you have on here, you can always see your map, and that's brilliant, and your close-up navigation. But what this system does as well is, if I like it on navigation on both, and on your main map here you have your full route. So it shows me currently I'm on a trip to Colchester, and there is a range test video for this trip, so please check that out. But it shows the entire route all the way down. It shows if there's any blockages, and it also allows you to select different routes just by clicking on them. And it also suggests if a quicker route becomes available. We're just hitting some congestion now. So you've always got that view, and you can see exactly what's going on across the entire journey. Whereas here on this one, and this zooms in and out, so I'm on the motorway now because I'm going faster, it zooms a bit out. This zooms in and out and gives you your turn-by-turn navigation. So that is absolutely fantastic, and it easily beats the Tesla in my view in that respect. Road noise is good. I'd say it's probably quieter than my Tesla. I did notice that, and whether it's my ears, that when you get to 65, I'm doing 65 now, I've got, in certain road services on the motorway, I get this strange resonance which sort of irritates me a bit on the back. Maybe a different type of tyre, these are Michelin tyres that are on this, maybe a different type of tyre would actually resolve that. But apart from that, it's very, very quiet. The roof seems quite thin, and you can hear, when it's really heavy raining, you can hear rain quite noisily. But then again, I'm used to a Tesla with a glass roof where you didn't hear that, so that's maybe why I'm noticing that. And the car, remember, is of aluminium. We've got quite a bit of aluminium construction in it. It's a very light car for its size and battery pack size. So in terms of driving position, I really like it. This is the Techno model, so it's just got manual seats, but you know, once I've adjusted the seat in my Tesla, I never had touched it again, so I'm not really that bothered. It has got an electronic, it seems to be electronic lumbar support cushion. You get a nice leg position, plenty of room. and as I say, that slightly elevated position up in the cabin as well. At my height, I can see exactly through. I can see the entire binnacle, so that's no issue. You can rest your arm on there. Another good thing about this car is the self-driving, which it's doing now. So on a Tesla, if you would change lanes, and it's been like this ever since I had my first Tesla 6 years ago, you then have to re-engage it. It's re-engaged in one go. You don't have to keep re-engaging it, boinging it on and off. Why Tesla don't sort that out, I have no idea. But so that's another improvement with this over the Tesla system. So look, I'm going to move back into the inside lane now, doing 65. It's not engaged yet. There, it's engaged. Green lights come on the steering wheel on there. Another thing I really like compared to the Tesla is it's a capacitive, I think that's the correct word, steering wheel. So if you're driving a Tesla, you've got to constantly put weight on it to make it feel as though it's got somebody on it, and it gets a bit cumbersome, tiresome having to weight it, and it can not detect you. This actually is touch, so all you have to do is just literally just touch it like that, and it knows you're holding it. So that's much better than the Tesla as well. Now I want to talk about efficiency. I've got loads on this. If you want to see the links below, we've got my previous range test videos. These things can never be totally scientific, because let's face it, you set off on and you set it at 68 miles an hour, unless in the UK you're travelling at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's likely that you're going to be in traffic jams and things, and therefore efficiency will be increased as you average, say, 50 miles an hour over a long journey, or 55 miles an hour. But compared to the Tesla Model S rear-wheel drive, the standard version, which actually comes in at more money than this car. Remember, this is now, I think, £37,000. This has got an 87 kilowatt battery. The Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive, I think, has a 62 from memory, the later ones. Compared to that, this gets around about 40 or 50 more miles, which has made the world of difference to me. Now, I'll give you some prime examples. Sometimes I go up to Perth. You'll see from my first test video of this, when I was relying on this to tell me when to charge, I charged on the way up. I didn't actually need to do it. I can get from West Yorkshire here up to Perth in one go. Another journey I often do is I'm always down to Milton Keynes. It's 280 miles from my house here to Milton Keynes and back. I could just eke it out in bit better weather in my Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive, which, remember, is now £2,000-3,000 more than this car. This car can easily do that now, as long as I don't sort of try and go over the speed limit. If I set it, say, 65, this can do it even in winter, no problem. And I went down to Milton Keynes the other day. It was warm. It was sort of 20 degrees, probably a bit lower when we set off. And I didn't even put it on eco, and I had no concern as to miles, because I knew it'd easily do it, and I didn't drive it as carefully as I could have done. And I got to Milton Keynes, I think it was with 57% battery left. Unfortunately, this is when I encountered that the M1 had been closed off, and we had to take a detour up the A1, so I did at that point put it in eco. And I did about 300 miles, so it added about another 12 miles onto my journey, but I still got back, I think I had 18% left, which puts it at around about 350 miles of range in warm weather, this car. Now, the car does drop off in winter, there's no doubt about it. It has got a heat pump as standard, but it does lose a reasonable amount of efficiency. From my testing, it loses about 20%. So you should be able to squeeze about, on long trips, about 280 miles out of it, maybe a bit over. In fact, I have done a bit over. In really cold temperatures, maybe about 280 tops. If you go up to about 10 degrees, your average trip will probably get you about 320 miles. And if you're up into sort of high teens, into the 20s, then, as I say, you're looking at about 350 miles. Can't be scientific, but my extensive driving experience in this car over the last 6 months, that's what I'd say you're basically looking at.
And now I'm going to talk about the drive quality in this car. It's something really that doesn't get much attention compared to the other elements, but it's absolutely brilliant. It's really, really smooth. That's the first thing that grabs you about it. It's really good at passing over bumps and potholes and absorbing the harshness of the road. Much better than my old Tesla in that respect. But at the same time, the chassis is taut and it's really good at cornering. No wobble like you usually get on these SUVs. Overall, absolutely no complaints whatsoever. But hey, no car's perfect. These are the things I don't like.
My first niggle is when navigating. So you'll see this has, I've got 73% battery left at the moment. And if we navigate somewhere, navigate to London.
Okay, London. Let's go.
Right, so this is a good test. So let me show you this. So what you can see it does is it's put me at a charging stop, and I can dump it or I can replace it. And it's saying after 23% after charging, I'll have enough. Now I think I could get to London because London is what let's have a look. Let's dump that stop. So let's dump this stop to give you an idea. So it's telling me to go to this Pogo charge station. Let's dump that. Yeah, so it's 3 hour 43 minutes to get to London. I think I could get to London easily on 73%. In fact, I know for a fact I could. Because of the mileage this car will do. It's currently 14 degrees, so this car on 100% will do 320 miles probably on at this temperature. So I know that when I arrive in London, I will probably arrive there with about 10% charge. But you'll see this overestimates, and what it does actually is it does give you this circle, and whereas a Tesla would be extremely accurate here based on your previous driving, and it would know based on your previous driving. What this does is it doesn't seem to base it on your previous driving, but it just seems to base it on some standardized or algorithm, and this needs to be really improved in my opinion. So you see that white circle there, it's saying you can get anywhere within this white circle likely on your trip. It's navigated to me there. So actually I could potentially get further. I know for a fact I could. And it's overestimating the consumption. So anybody doing that trip now who didn't know this car would call in at that charging station that it had scheduled to be there, call you in there, and you'd be wasting money and time on a charge that you didn't necessarily need to do. Bit of a shame. So what I do is I use that consumption screen I showed you here, and keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on the general consumption battery percentage over here, and then if I need to charge, you can schedule in the charge on there. Do watch my video as well about preheating the battery as well for the charge, but that's one thing that they need to change. They need to base it. I mean, Google's collecting all your information. I think this is Google rather than a Renault issue. Google are collecting all of your information. They should know and be able to gather the info in terms of how you're driving, and this should be a lot more accurate. Tesla was absolutely crazily spot on with how accurate that was, and that's not good enough. So that's one of my gripes about the car. And my second gripe about the car is this, and it's the rear view camera. So take a look at this. Switch the car on. Now look at the state. I don't know if it comes across how bad this is. You know, now in the day like today, the lines work really well, by the way, and when you get close to something as well, it sort of goes down to more of a top view, which is quite clever. But the resolution on this is appalling. It looks like 1/5 of a megapixel. I just can't understand it. And the problem is, because the camera points down, it gets dirty quickly, and also if you are I've had this. I've been in my gym car park when the lights haven't been working in the car park, so it's been fairly dark. Bad road conditions, dirty, although the camera wasn't that dirty. And this can become unusable in poor lighting conditions because it's such low resolution. It's absolute crap, and I can't understand it. Renault, you need to fix this, and you need to, I don't know what you need to do, you need to install a new camera. Oh, I can't believe actually the camera's only capable of that, and I do wonder whether it's a sort of bandwidth issue. I can't believe anybody's selling a camera with that. I mean, I can buy a webcam off Amazon for $9.99, which has got substantially better resolution than that has. I just can't understand it. So that's another thing I don't like. Another thing I don't like is this, and this is how to open the boot internally. Now, you'd think you'd just press it or pull it. You hear that? Nothing. Press it. Nothing. What you've got to do is, bizarrely, and it's difficult to hear that tiny little beep. I don't even know if the microphone's maybe not even picking it up, but press it one way, so down, beep, then up. And if you don't do it just in time, it doesn't open the boot. The boot's now open. If I want to lower it, you can just hold it down and that's fine. Hang on. You've got to keep it held down actually. Let's have a look. So even I'm struggling now, we're just on this demo. Yeah, well, I mean, you could just see, can't you? What a joke this is. Imagine trying to drop somebody off quickly with a suitcase or whatever outside a train station. Right, so it looks as though you just have to keep holding it down until it closes. Yeah, so why Renault? Why fix it with a software update? Terrible. And the third issue I don't like is the absolutely appalling and crappy Renault app. Amazingly, it's actually connected today, but half the time it won't even connect to the car. And I think I've got a screenshot of screen recording just showing you the typical type of things you find. So on this occasion, we've been looking, it has actually connected. You've got a preconditioning lights. It's really basic, isn't it? It shows you battery setting, contracts and technical data. But you know, there's no ability to open the doors, windows. It's just so basic, it's rubbish really. But the main problem is with it, half the time it doesn't connect. So what I would recommend is this app called Kelec, and that's K-E-L-E-C. And this app is substantially better. It always seems to connect. You can control the preheating when the Renault one fails, and you can look at your charging history with that. Pretty basic, but it's a free app, Kelec, K-E-L-E-C. And you just give it the account settings and it logs in, and this one actually works. You can see I've done 5,600 miles currently in the car in 6 months. Oh, actually, that's really interesting. Right, okay, that's another thing to complain about, but we'll come on to that. If you've got a smart charger that's compatible with Octopus, this probably won't bother you because you can just charge the car via the smart charger with Octopus. But I've got an old charger because I've had an electric car since 2016 that isn't compatible. Now with my Tesla, the Tesla talks directly to Octopus, the Scenic doesn't. So what you have to do is you have to basically install this, it's called Mobilize Smart Charge, and you set the smart charging from here. That then talks to Octopus. So all you do is set it in here. It's not a big problem, but one problem is that this also keeps stopping working, and mainly because when it updates, it seems to lose your electricity supplier details, and you have to put it in again. It then seems to take about another 12 hours or whatever to reconnect and get onto Octopus's service, so that's a bit of a pain. The one upside to this is you can set departure time at any time, so it's great for charging at cheap rate on a weekend because you can set it at like you know, for sort of 8 o'clock at night rather than the Octopus app, which forces you to set it in the morning. But look at this. This is the first time I've seen this. From April 30th to May, we were unable to receive data updates from Renault vehicles, which temporarily disrupted smart charging. The issue is now resolved. Now, again, pain in the backside, isn't it, really? So now for £37,000 you get a fully loaded car like this, which is substantially better. It does further distance. The systems are as good. The software, the app isn't as good, but certainly the Google system is better, and in many ways it's a better car than the Tesla Model S rear-wheel drive. I used to say only ever buy a Tesla, particularly for the charging situation, but that's totally changed. Teslas are still probably the best chargers. Link below is one where I used a Fastned charger. They're really good, and the other chargers are catching up actually, but Tesla are still the best chargers. But hey, you know, you can use roughly half of them and most of the new ones anyway in one of these. And the number of super fast chargers in the UK has doubled in the past year. So they're absolutely everywhere now, virtually every service station you turn up at. What I really like about this compared to the rear-wheel drive Tesla is I get about another 40, maybe 50 miles out of it, and that's made such a difference. It doesn't sound like much, but that on so many of my trips, which tend to be sort of 250, winter, 300, 320 miles, it's made the difference between having to, say, pulling off, coming back from Milton Keynes, pulling up at Mansfield, queuing to get off, going to charge, and just travelling straight on through. People say, oh, it doesn't matter really how far cars can go if you've got a Tesla because you can quickly charge it. It does, because you've got to come off the motorway, you've got to make the effort, and more importantly, I charge this for 7p a kilowatt. Even on Teslas you're talking normally 40 something pence, so it costs you a lot more money as well. I mean, a couple of weeks ago we went to the Lake District. I've done that before in my Tesla as well. Drove it to the Lake District, drove around in the Lake District, drove back without charging. Absolutely fantastic, and for that reason alone I would buy this car over the rear-wheel drive Tesla. I am interested in the long range rear-wheel drive Tesla, which gets even further than this. That'll get about another 50 miles on this, I think. But no, it's excellent, and for the money it's unbeatable. The other thing is the lease prices. The lease prices have been incredibly keen on these cars recently. In fact, they've come as low as about £325 a month. Nothing down at all over a 2-year lease, 8,000 miles a year, a few more pounds to take it up to 10, say. Absolute bargain, you know, £4,000 a year to drive around in one of these cars that's worth nearly 40,000. So overall, would I recommend the car? 100%. Do I really like it? I suppose the test is, isn't it, would I buy another one? I always say I'm not sure I would, because in 2 or 3 years time, you know, things move on. It may be that Tesla's better again, probably something else like out, maybe a Kia or something that actually I think beats this. But at the moment, I think this is definitely one of the top couple of cars you can buy. I'll prove it. And if you've had eagle eyes throughout this video, you may already have noticed. But Mrs. Wakey Warrior, guess what she's just bought? And here we go. We've now got two, and Mrs. Wakey, she's gone fully electric auto. Even she was a highly electric car skeptic, saying that she didn't want to charge and everything else, but she's been so impressed with the distance we've got on that. We'd have to go to the airport and it, no problem and everything else. She's taken the plunge and got this lovely grey one. I couldn't have two red ones, even though I had to pay a little bit more on the lease. Although now, if you get the Techno version, which I think is 39, you can pick any colour. Doesn't that look lovely? So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you found it useful. I mean, I can't give any more of an endorsement than that, can I? Getting a second one and being a two Scenic family. So highly recommended. and enjoy your scenic journey if you're intending to buy one. And please like and subscribe, that really helps out my channel. And I'll try and do some more scenic videos as well. I do want to show you a summer long range test, so I'll get that done fairly shortly. Cheers, bye.
Time can never be your trusted friend or your sworn ally. No, it's the harshest mistress of all. And life is just a chain of moments spent, 1,000 hellos and goodbyes. Maybe a love like ours can leave out its call.